Coming up on Kochie's Business Builders, how to develop a winning team culture, tips from the Australian Tax Office on how to stay in their good books, plus we hear the story behind the success of international makeup icon Napoleon Percy. Hello, welcome to a new episode of Kochie's Business Builders. That interview with Napoleon Percy is a must-see. He is incredible. The tips on building a business through good process and good brand building, you are in for a treat. But don't you love small business? The colour, the characters, from Napoleon Percy to people who own circuses. We're going to take a closer look at the business of running a circus and what we can learn from it in a couple of episodes. It's just terrific. But first, news you can use. And accountants are warning to watch your cash flow in this lead up to Christmas. Many businesses make the mistake of stocking up big pre-Christmas and running out of cash to pay your tax in the new year. Pay particular attention to slow-moving stock and put a lot of effort into selling it because your cash is tied up there. Now, most small businesses concentrate on things like sales and finance, but building a strong culture within your team can build really good profits into the future. So, how do you change your culture? Let's go about building a winning team. Marty, Brenda and Wacker head up the team at Let's Go Surfing. For years, they've been at Bondi teaching people how to surf. And in summer, they'll have as many as 50 instructors. But in winter, that drops off dramatically. Staffing has always been an issue for them, so we sent in HR expert Joe Jacobs for advice on recruiting and maintaining a winning team.
How many people would you lose each year as a result of the seasonal fluctuations in your work requirements?
Probably about 10 to 12 people each year.
So that's another 10 to 12 that you need to recruit?
We recruit about 15 people each season, yeah.
180 people applied at the beginning of the season. We've got about 12 rookies, as we call them, the rookies that have come through, and by the end of the season, we might have 3 outstanding rookies that we've got from that, and then the whole process starts again.
So it's a pretty small hit rate, isn't it? 3 from 180.
We're only really, hoping to get 5 or so that make it through, and then we grow that pool of leaders.
And one of the things I noticed when I was looking at your website is you have a jobs section there where people can click on and see what jobs are available. And there is about 90% of it is for your instructors. And then there's one line about customer service. So I just wanted to ask you, what about these other roles and how important are they to your business? Because if you looked at the website, you wouldn't necessarily think that important.
They're extremely important. There's no one who works in our business really that hasn't started as a surf instructor. You know, we usually say if you've spent a couple of years on the beach with us, that way that'll give you a path through to moving into these other areas.
But as our business has grown, we are realising that we are developing in different ways, and instructors don't necessarily have some of the skills that we need in other areas.
So you're probably at a pretty critical point in your business where you need to basically map out what the business is going to be looking like in maybe 3 to 4 years, and therefore back planning what workforce you're going to need to make sure that your business is correctly staffed at that time. Technically, if your business is growing, you probably actually want to keep your instructors on the beach where they do what they do really well. And it may be about thinking a bit bigger picture and not necessarily having to have someone who's been an instructor or a surfing expert be on that front line in the administration area or on the phones. So there is an area where you might go and work with a business partner to talk about, can you explain to me the different skills and talents that I might look for in a customer service consultant as distinct from a surfing instructor?
But do you think that you might dilute some of your culture by isolating those things?
No, I don't. Team culture is about creating culture no matter whether you're on the beach or you happen to be in the back office. It is about something that unites you at a much bigger level than that. And I mean, look at the three of you here. I mean, you're like all the same in a way, even though you're very different. And so it's about how do you translate how you feel and what you think about your business, and how do you drive that energy further down to all the people that work for you. It sounds like you're doing it with the instructors. Now you've just got to find a way to connect with those people that are maybe not exactly like all of you, who haven't come from a surfing background, but still have a lot of skills and talent to offer. How would you describe your team culture?
You know, we've all got competitive sports backgrounds, so we try and bring that team sports culture into what we do. You know, we have monthly team meetings where we're awarding all our team for various things. We have annual team trips away. We have staff trainings running all through. We do team events. We go sailing and do stuff like that. So it's very much about the team working together. The
really important things that any small to medium business needs to think about when they're looking at their workforce talent is how do they recruit, how do they attract and select their people, how do they onboard them, so what is their experience like when they first join the organisation. It's about how do we engage and make sure that people stay with us, and it's about how we reward them. And it seems like you've ticked a lot of those boxes, so perhaps just with a few tweaks in terms of future workforce planning, winning team.
Look, I visit lots of small businesses, and a common theme amongst the successful ones is always a great team culture. Up next, a rare insight into the tax office and their advice for small business. In this tough business climate, a lot of small business owners aren't giving tax the priority that it needs. The tax office has the most powerful computers in the country and the most sophisticated data matching. They will find you out. I recently caught up with Deputy Tax Commissioner Michael Cranston to ask him what are the biggest mistakes that we make as small business owners in terms of tax, and what makes the tax office really angry. Michael, we all know we have to pay tax. It's a bit of a pain because it distracts us from running our business. But what are the three things that we as small business owners need to do to make you happy?
Firstly, lodging on time, or don't lodge too late. That's one. I think two is getting the reporting right. And for some of the smaller businesses, very much around not having good records. And as they get a bit bigger, sometimes they get the CGT laws wrong, or when they actually use trusts, they get that wrong. And my advice then, as your businesses get bigger, as you grow and get bigger, make sure you get the right accountant to the size of your business. And probably the third thing is in relation to debt. You know, it's a troubling time, and there is a lot of businesses do get themselves into financial stress. So what I say is make sure you come and talk to us. And we've got a lot of options around that. There's repayment plans. We can look at interest remissions, and if it's big hardship, we can actually sort of wipe off some of the debts as well. So
is that right?
Yeah.
Because I find feedback I get when people are not paying their tax, they'll try and hide. They'll say, I won't pay, I'll ignore it, and hopefully I'll go under the radar because they think they'll be in real trouble. You're saying, hey, just fess up.
Yeah. Well, I think we've come a long way. We access a lot of information from outside the tax office, banks, property, share market, and we also got a lot of sophisticated tools in the tax office now, and we can actually measure tax performance of businesses. We can look at economic performance compared to industries, and we have these cash economy benchmarks as one example of that. And also we do monitor the debts, and we have these business viability type assessment sort of tools that help us. So we are going to find it, we're going to look at it, and we are going to follow up. So you should come forward.
Wow, that's interesting about benchmarking. So each of us is benchmarked against similar companies in our industry, and it'll be obvious if you did all the books.
Yeah, obvious, and also you can see why we do follow that up, because it'd be unfair for the businesses that are doing the right thing, because they're competing against businesses that aren't doing the right thing. So that's why we do follow up.
So how's the ATO finding the state of small business at the moment?
I think there's been some improvement over the last year or so, but there is still problems with debt levels. I think at the small end, debt is still growing. The tax debts I'm talking about, and I'm sure that it'd be other type debts as well. So we provide a lot of assistance programs, and we do a lot of work with startups. And
Like what? Give us an example.
we will provide like sort of guides and things about what records you should be keeping in small business. And we actually will send people out to small businesses and help them, give them advice on how to set up their businesses and do the right thing. And the other thing is, for an ongoing sort of role, they actually will need a tax agent, you know, to help them through that as well.
So if you're thinking of starting your own business, access the tax office and say, how do I do it properly, and you'll help.
Yes, there's material there, and as I said, if possible, we'll also undertake a visit.
Terrific. Look, the tax office really is there to help. They've got a lot of information and a lot of advice services, so take advantage of it. And if you follow Michael's simple tips, you will keep out of the tax office's headlights. After the break, we chat to super successful makeup king Napoleon Percy and find out what's behind the magic of his empire.
This business tip brought to you by NAB. We see Australian business.
The NAB Business Assist team opened in 2009 to manage the everyday banking needs of our business customers. It currently has 65 trained bankers who take an impressive 32,000 email and phone inquiries a month. The Business Assist team is dedicated to servicing customers' business and personal needs during the extended opening hours of 8 to 8, Monday to Friday. All calls are answered by business banking advisors who put the customer at the center of everything they do and make every call count. By continuously investing in our bankers through ongoing training and coaching, we're onto a winning combination. Creating a family culture and fun environment is very important to us, and we have a strong reward and recognition program. We ensure that communication is always open, with newsletters, visual management, and social media. But at the heart of this is the relationship with everyone in the team. Our customers consistently comment on the high-quality service that the team provides. So it comes as no surprise that NAB's Business Assist team has been recognized as Victorian Contact Centre of the Year. The award acknowledges the hard work the team continues to put in and their ongoing commitment to supporting our business customers and bankers.
For more information on the Business Assist team's award-winning services, visit nab.com.au. Our next guest is an incredible homegrown success story. From humble beginnings as a makeup artist for fashion shows, he now controls an international cosmetics conglomerate. Since his first concept store opened in 1995, Napoleon Percy has taken the makeup world by storm, stamping his name and his brand as a pioneer. His empire now includes over 4,500 points of sale across Australia and New Zealand, plus many more across America. But it hasn't all been glamour and runways. Napoleon's success comes down to a fantastic business mindset and unwavering foundations. It was interesting, I was talking to the girls at Sunrise about your line, and they, both Mel and Nat, said it's very distinguishable. No matter what store you go to, you can see a product there and instantly say, that's Napoleon Percy, whereas other brands sort of muck up their branding a bit. Is that a secret?
That is a secret, because everything I develop with product in the brand has a story. And I drive my teams insane to stay true to the story. So as an example, you know, there's a holiday collection or Christmas collection that's really based on the authenticity of a collection of ours that's over 500 for, like, you know, many, many years now. And the owl was the representation of the goddess Athena, wisdom. So this Christmas and holiday is wonders, wisdom, wishes. And, you know, everything is then edited so that there's a true efficacy and a true, you know, point of data in the mind and in the emotion.
Well, I get the feeling you're incredibly process-driven and run your business with great discipline as well. Do you think that sets you apart? A lot of businesses tend to change so much that they lose sight of where they're going?
Everything has to be processed. It actually stems back to the way the business was formed. My wife was a financial actuarial person that we met at university while I was doing political science and business law. My brother came from a commerce background. We each had a very separate area of the business to look after. And when we would come together in our board meetings, it was to actually create bridging and unification. Those processes from day one are still around today, they're just bigger. And we're very strict. And I'm a total control freak on detail. Retail is detailed. And women really want to know that you are worrying about the little things. So if I walk into a store and there's a coffee cup on the counter from the staff, it's unacceptable. Right through to our accounts, right through to how we report our governance, right through to how we educate. And when there's a new product we launch, there's an education program in a box that goes across all our distribution, and then it's personalised with staff training.
Has that been the big challenge as you've grown internationally and the culture has changed? As you get bigger, sometimes culture's watered down, processes are watered down?
You know, I think the biggest challenge for that process and procedure and protocol, I'll add protocol in there because you have to have protocols in how you deal with the customer and how you deal with your internal people, was when I launched in the United States. Doing that adaptation and making sure we had the same processes in a new staffing system, in also a younger age staffing level, because the brand was already a number of years old here. It was brand new, so there's a millennial staff that is not like what we have here. We have them coming up the ranks, but we were starting with them. That was really difficult. But because I have accredited makeup academies, we're constantly about creating a box around process and adaptation. You're allowed fluidity and freedom within the box, but you have to stay within the box. So I was very ruthless about that in decisions, in how I moved staff in and out of the business, but then how I consolidated staff and nurtured them to grow with me. And I hired top-notch people. I have my executive assistant, for example, is a Yale graduate. My marketing director there's Berkeley. I went for education because for me, the Harvard of makeup requires that you have the best education in the people with you as well.
Over all the successes, all the career, all the hard work, the three key factors that you look back on as the foundations of your success that we can all learn from?
The three key factors would be like family and family support. 2, very strong ambition and no letting it go at any stage, no matter what. And the third thing is stick to it. I had the vision to keep going, and you don't have to listen to anyone around you, because when you plant enough seeds and water them, they finally grow and give you fruit.
Here is a man driven to building a brand, driven to building processes to deliver that brand and the values of the organisation. He is just incredible. Look, there's so much that we couldn't put into today's show. Do yourself a favour, go and see the full interview on the website. You won't regret it. Coming up next, it's time for Ask Kochie, where we answer your burning business questions.
It's Tech Tip Time with Val Quinn.
Now, when you're out shopping for a laptop, you might hear a salesman refer to a laptop as an ultrabook. So what is an ultrabook, and why is it good for your business? Now, ultrabooks are a different class of laptop that are focused on performance and size. They're ultra thin and ultra powerful. Whereas in the past, if you had an ultra thin laptop, you would normally have to compromise on performance. Now, with the latest Intel Core i7 processors, you can get all of this in one. Another thing an ultrabook has is an SSD drive. Now, this is a solid-state drive, which is a hard disk with no moving parts, and this means extra performance as well. Now, there are still a few things to consider. One, ultrabooks generally don't have room for DVD drives, and secondly, they're quite expensive, starting at about $1,500 up to about $3,000. So keep these in mind when you're planning your purchase.
Hello, welcome back. Let's start tackling your questions, which you send through the website, Facebook and Twitter. First up, Paul from New South Wales says, I'm a qualified accountant with a new bookkeeping business. I'm not having much luck in getting any clients. I've done letterbox drops, advertising in local papers, promotions on Facebook, networking with local accountants and tax agents for business. What am I doing wrong? First up, get feedback. from the accountants and the tax agents that you've talked to and say, why aren't you giving me any business? If it's not you, it could be that there are a lot of people like you running similar businesses in the area, that there's too much competition. Otherwise, get in contact with your local business enterprise centre or chamber of commerce and see if any of the businesses there will give you a go. But good luck with that. Our other question is from Emma, who wrote in on Facebook saying, I've just decided to start a Facebook page for a new business I just love doing. When should I get an ABN and what requirements are needed to provide my service and the insurances I need? Look, insurances, licenses, ABNs are a critical part to starting a new business. Also, the type of corporate structure you'll need: sole trader, private company, partnership, whatever. Look, go to our website and to the startup area, and there is a complete listing of the things that you need to start a new business, and that will point you in the right direction. Now, if you want to put your small business up online, you need KBB Web in a Box. It's a step-by-step process where you can build your own professional website, which is mobile enabled, using our templates. It's cheap, it's easy, it's professional. You need it. Go to the website. All the details are there. Sign up. Let us know how you go. That's it for this week. We'll catch you next time. Next week on KBB, how to set up a successful home-based business, tips for cracking the Asian export market, and Climate Friendly shows how the environment can lead to big profits.